The weirdest thing happened this morning. I was getting ready for work, and Connor came up behind me in the bathroom, hugged me, and started crying. Actually crying. He said he felt like he was losing me and didn't know why. For a split second, I almost broke down and confronted him right there. But then I remembered the conversation I overheard, remembered him laughing about his Oscar-worthy performance. I just patted his arm and told him everything was fine, just busy at work. His tears dried up remarkably quickly when I mentioned I might have to postpone our trip to New York next month. You know, the one where we were supposed to stay in that 5-star hotel his Instagram influencer friend recommended. Funny how his emotional crisis evaporated at the mere mention of a luxury experience potentially slipping away. The confrontation is coming. I'm almost ready. But I want him to sweat a little more, to feel the ground shifting under his feet without understanding why. I want him to experience just a fraction of the uncertainty and betrayal I've been feeling. Is that petty? Maybe. But when someone shatters your entire reality, I think you're entitled to a little pettiness. Edit. To those asking if we have kids, thankfully, no. Connor always had just one more thing he wanted to accomplish before starting a family. I now realize that one more thing was establishing himself enough to leave with half my assets. Edit 2. Connor just texted asking if we can have dinner at my parents' house this weekend. Says he misses them. I bet he does. Second update. Hey y'all, it's been about a month since my last update, and so much has happened. First, thank you for all your support and advice. I've read every comment, even the ones questioning my methods. Trust me, I've questioned them myself every step of the way. So, picking up where we left off. After discovering Connor had been secretly siphoning money from our accounts and only staying with me for my family connections, I spent weeks quietly gathering information and preparing my exit strategy. I was planning to confront him after I had absolutely everything in order. But life had other plans. Remember that dinner at my parents' house Connor was so eager to have? We went last weekend, and it was enlightening. Connor was in full charm mode, complimenting my mom's new curtains, asking my dad detailed questions about his golf game, even offering to help my sister set up her new Sonos system. To anyone watching, he was the perfect son-in-law. But now that I knew what to look for, I could see the calculation behind every interaction. During dinner, Connor casually mentioned he'd been researching investment properties in my parents' neighborhood. My dad, bless him, immediately started talking about how property values in their area were expected to rise 20% in the next 5 years. Connor's eyes actually lit up. I'm not exaggerating. It was like watching a slot machine hit the jackpot. That night, after we got home, I found him on our iPad looking at properties way above our price range. When I asked how we could possibly afford them, he smiled and said my dad had mentioned helping with the down payment. My dad had said nothing of the sort. The next morning, I had my meeting with the lawyer Loretta recommended. She was amazing, direct, supportive, and thorough. She helped me understand exactly what I was entitled to and what Connor might try to claim. The good news? Our prenup does offer some protection, though not as much as I'd like. The better news? The financial forensics revealed a pattern of deception that could potentially invalidate portions of the prenup. While I was meeting with the lawyer, Connor was apparently having a complete meltdown at home. I'd left my laptop open that morning with a browser tab showing flights to my cousin's place in California, part of my exit strategy planning. When I got home, Connor had prepared an elaborate dinner. My favorites. Wine, candles, the works. He was trying so hard to be charming, but there was this desperate edge to everything. His hands were actually shaking when he poured the wine. During dinner, he kept dropping these bizarre comments about how much he loves our life together, how grateful he is for me, not my family, specifically me, and how he's never been happier. It was like watching someone perform a role they hadn't quite learned all the lines for. Then came the bombshell. He suggested we start trying for a baby. Right now. This from the man who has spent 3 years finding excuses to delay starting a family. I nearly choked on my wine. I asked why the sudden change of heart. Connor gave me this speech about realizing what truly matters in life, and how he's finally ready for the next step in our journey together. He actually got teary-eyed, y'all. Oscar-worthy indeed. I smiled and said, "That's quite a coincidence, because I've been doing some thinking about our future, too." The hope that flashed across his face was almost sad. I continued. "In fact, I've been reflecting a lot on our relationship since I got back from Nashville." The hope vanished, replaced by something closer to panic. He reached for his wine glass so quickly he nearly knocked it over. He asked, "What kind of reflections?" That's when I decided to start laying my cards on the table. Not all of them, but enough to watch him squirm. I said I'd been thinking about honesty in marriage, about what people really want versus what they say they want. Connor's face went so pale, I thought he might pass out. He asked what that meant. Instead of answering directly, I asked if he remembered what he said in his vows at our renewal ceremony about how meeting me was the best thing that ever happened to him. He nodded, attempting a smile that looked more like a grimace. I asked if he meant it. "Of course I did," he said, reaching for my hand across the table. "I meant every word." I pulled my hand away, slowly. "That's interesting," I said, "because I could have sworn I heard you tell Danny that the vow renewal was pure torture, and that you had to make up romantic shh while my family looked on." The color drained from his face completely. His mouth opened and closed several times, but no sound came out. When he finally tried to speak, I continued, "Or maybe I misheard. Maybe you didn't call our marriage a nightmare and say you wake up regretting your decision every day. Maybe I imagined the part where you said the only good thing about our relationship is my family's money." Connor knocked over his wine glass then, sending red wine cascading across our white tablecloth. He didn't even move to clean it up. He just stared at me, with an expression of pure horror. When he finally asked when I heard it, I told him, "When I came home early from Nashville, to surprise you."